Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. For this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this very pretty bracelet. When I first started designing this bracelet, I just wanted to make it with the new Discduo beads. I really love working with these beads. The Discduos are these beads right here, the bronze ones. They are a flat coin shape and they have 2 holes, and they are so much fun to work with. And for those of you that might not remember or didn't see, I used these Discduos in the past for these pendants here, and I used them to bezel a Rivoli, and they were just so awesome. I really love these beads. They have so much potential. So if you haven't seen the video to this Rivoli pendant, I will leave a link for it down there in the description bar, so check that out. So anyways, I'm really loving these Discduos. This is the bracelet I created with them. I love it so much. Now these Discduos are new beads, so I realize that a lot of you might not have these on hand, but you might have Rounduos, which have been around for quite a while now. So this bracelet here is the same design as the pink one. I just used Rounduos in it. So the Discduos are flat rounds, but the Rounduos are a round bead with 2 holes. And I got the same results with the Rounduos, just as I got with the Discduos. It's just, it looks a little bit differently, of course, because these are flat and these are round. But yeah, for this bracelet you can use either the Discduos or the Rounduos. It's up to you. I really like this design, and I hope you're going to like it too. So here is the list of materials you will need to make these cute little bracelets. Here is the list of materials you will need to make a bracelet. You will need 7 feet of 8-pound Fireline. You will need 2 size 10 beading needles. Now because of the size bracelet you will need, and also the clasp will factor in on this, you will need roughly around 18 to 23 Discduos or Rounduos. And again, because of the clasp or whatever size bracelet you will need around 72 to 92 Superduos. You're also going to need 11 OC beads in 2 colors, and you're also going to need either a cut button or a clasp of your choice. This bracelet here, I did the cut button. I really love the cut buttons. And this one I did a toggle. Now because I did a toggle on this, the clasp is 1 inch long, so that meant I didn't have to use as many beads. So that's another thing to keep in mind if you haven't done much beading, is if you use a large clasp you won't need as many beads, because you have to take into account how long your clasp is. Always measure your clasp to see how long it is, so you can figure out how long you need your bracelet to be. So this is the list of materials. If you want to see it in writing, remember, check down there in the description bar. I always have the list down there. And in case you don't know, the Discduos and the Rounduos can only be bought at Potomac Bead Company, because they are the only people that are making them. So I will also leave a link to their beads if you don't have the Discduos or the Rounduos down there in the description bar, so make sure you check down there before you start this project. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is connect our clasp on. So I'm going to be using a cut button because this button matches beads that I have in the rest of my bracelet. But if you don't have cut buttons and you're using a regular clasp, what you're going to do is pick up 8 seed beads and crisscross through the last 2 you put on, and then you're going to continue on with a stitch. So I'm going to show you how I pick up the cut button. So to do the cut button, I pick up the cut button, I go in this way, so I'm going in through the bottom, I'm coming out the top of the button. I like to have some beads nestled in the top of my cut button, so I'm going to do a bronze, this turquoise, and a bronze. Okay, and I'm going to slide this cut button down my thread, and I want this to be in the center of my thread. So I have my seed beads here. I'm going to pass through the other hole in my button. I'm going to put both of my needles together. So I have these needles here, the thread on both sides are the same length, so I'm going to slide this cut button down, and I just need to find the very center of my thread. So make sure your needles stay together and bring this down to the center of your thread. Okay, and this is what mine looks like. Okay, now once you have that, pick up 5 seed beads on each needle. Okay, I got 5 and I got 4 in this one. Okay, there is 5 and 5. Alright, so I'm going to slide those down, and then I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads and I'm going to crisscross through them. And now I'm going to start my weave. So it's just this little part right here that we just did that will be different from how you add a toggle clasp or a lobster claw clasp. Okay, so I'm just bringing this down to the center, and this is what we have. Alright, now to do the stitch in the bracelet, it's going to be the same. Doesn't matter which clasp you're using, it's going to be the same. So after I pick up those 8 seed beads, crisscross with those 2, I start the stitch. So after this part here that I just did, I'm going to start the stitch. So I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead on each needle, and then I'm going to pick up a Discduo or Rounduo, whatever you're using, and I'm going to pass through it like this with both needles, okay? And I like to hold these between my fingers and bring this bead down. So I have this. Okay, now I'm going to separate the needles, pick up 1 seed bead on each side, slide that one down. I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads and crisscross through them. Okay, just like this. I'll hold these together and I'll bring these 2 beads down. Okay, so now I have what looks like this. So every time I crisscross those 2 seed beads, I have to pick up 1 seed bead on each needle, slide those down, pick up the Discduo or the Rounduo, slide this down, so I just hold that between my fingers and slide it down, and then I'm going to pick up my seed beads again. So I'm going to do 1 on each needle, slide that down, pick up 2, and then I'm going to crisscross my needles through those 2 seed beads, and I'm going to bring these 2 down. Okay, so now I have 2 Discduos added. Right? Now I'm going to do the same thing. 2 seed beads on each needle, pick up a Discduo, pass both of my needles through it like that, slide this down. After I add the Discduo or the Rounduo, I have to pick up 1 seed bead on each needle, slide those down, pick up 2, and crisscross through these 2. Okay, just like this. Bring it down. And now I have that. So every time after I cross through those 2 seed beads, I have to remember to pick up 1 seed bead on each side, because this is something here you might forget. You might forget to pick up 1 on each side before you pick up the Discduo. Okay, so passing through the Discduo just like that, bringing this down. This is what we have so far, and I should go back and tighten this up. So I'm just going to pull these threads tight, make sure it looks tight and there's no exposed thread, and it looks good. Okay, so after that, I have to pick up 1 seed bead on each side, each needle, and then I'm going to pick up 2 to cross through, pass through these here, opposite direction, and bring them down. And this is what it's looking like. Okay, so I'm going to take my needles, pick up again 1 seed bead on each side, pick up a Superduo or Discduo, excuse me, just like that, and bring it down. Make sure you pull it tight so there's no exposed thread. Okay, I'm just going to close this one off. So 1 seed bead on each side, pick up 2, and crisscross through them. And bring these 2 down. Okay, and this is what we have so far. I think I'm going to do this just one more time to make sure you guys have it. And if you have it, just fast forward the video. Okay, so again, just one seed bead on each needle. I'm going to pick up a Discduo or Rounduo. Slide this down. Okay, that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to pick up one seed bead on each noodle. Did I say noodle or needle? Okay, so I'm picking up two and I'm crisscrossing through them. And I'm bringing these two down. And for a while I was just going like this and like trying to bring it down, but then the bracelet would fly off of my table, so I've actually found that it's just best to put your fingers on the two beads and just hold them between your fingers and bring it down so the bracelet doesn't fly off of your table and you don't have beads everywhere. Okay, so just bring that down, pull it tight, and this is what it should look like. Okay, so this is pretty simple. Just keep going doing this stitch, and once you have all of the Discduos or Superduos that you need for the length that you need, I'll show you how to add the other end of your clasp. Okay, so keep going, repeating these steps, and if you have any problems, just rewind the video. As you can see, I kept on going, and I'm now at the length that I need to make a bracelet. So now what I have to do is make my loop over here so my button can pass through the loop just like on this bracelet here. Okay, so I will be making a loop just like this. Now if you're not doing a cut button for a clasp and you're doing a toggle, or maybe you're doing a lobster claw, this is how you're going to attach the other end of the clasp. So after you crisscross your needle through the last two seed beads, what you're going to do is pick up 6 seed beads. So this one, this one, this one, that one, that one, and that one. Okay, you're picking up 6. You're going to want to crisscross both of your needles to those 6 seed beads. Okay, and then you'll be exiting out here and here with your thread. What you want to do is then pass a needle this way, the thread that's coming this way, you want to pass through there. Then you want to take your other needle and do the same thing, pass through this side. So you're crisscrossing through these 2 seed beads. And then what you're going to do is you're going to stitch back down. So you're going to go through this seed bead here, just this one, and you're going to do the same thing on this side. You're going to go through just this one seed bead, okay? Once you have all your thread pulled out, then you're going to start adding the seed beads and the Superduos on the sides, which is what I'm going to show you how to do after I attach this loop. Okay, so to do the cut button, I found that the perfect size loop for the cut button is 1 1¼ inch plus 1 more seed bead. So again, 1¼ inch plus 1 extra seed bead. That seems to be the perfect loop for my button to go through. Okay, so after I pick up those seed beads, what I'm going to do is slide them down, okay, like this. Then I'm going to take my other needle, not the same one, the other one, and I'm going to pass through all of these in the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm actually crisscrossing through all of them, and I'm going to pull my needle all the way through. Okay, so I'm just going to pull both of my threads. Lay this down. Okay, so just like this. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So this is the same thing you would be doing with the other class. Like I told you, you would pick up 6 seed beads and you would cross through them just like this. And then the next thing you would do is pass through these 2 seed beads with the needle on this side. Okay, I'm going to stick that in my mat. I'm going to go to my other needle and pass through these 2 seed beads and pull this through. Okay, so just like that. I like to make sure it's tight. So if you have loose thread here, which when I made the other 2 I did, you want to pull those seed beads down, you can pull it like this to tighten it and make it look better, okay? If you want, you can go ahead and check, make sure your button is going to go through. Maybe you're not using a cut button, maybe you're using another button, like a plastic one or a metal one. Just make sure that your cut button passes through, okay? Then once it does, we're going to continue on with our stitch. So I'm exiting out of these two seed beads. I need to reposition my needle, so I'm going to take my needle, pass through this seed bead, take my other needle, and pass through this one. Okay, so now everything's tight, and we are ready to add our Superduos and some more seed beads along the sides. Okay, so I'm just gonna get those beads ready. Okay, so now I'm ready to add my Superduos and seed beads to the sides, and with this bracelet you don't have to worry about tension. You don't have to go halfway, then do the other side halfway, and then continue on. With this one, you can do one whole side all the way to the other end and not have any tension problems. So I laid my beads out like this because I'm right-handed, and once I finish my right side here, I'll just flip it over and do the other side. So this part's very simple. Right now we're exiting out of this seed bead and the same on the other side. What I'm going to do is pick up one seed bead, two Superduos. Make sure that the holes are cleared on your Superduos because sometimes they'll be clogged. And the same really goes for any two-hole bead. The Rounduos do it too, and so do the Discduos. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a seed bead, two Superduos, and a seed bead, and then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass through these two beads right here, okay? And I'm just going to hold this between my fingers and pull my needle through, and this is what I have, okay? You can see them on there. Now I'm going to do the same thing, same beads, a seed bead, two Superduos, and a seed bead. Just like that. Exiting out of here, I'm going to pass through these two seed beads and pull my thread through. Okay, pulled snug, and this is what I have. Again, one seed bead, two Superduos, one seed bead. Exiting out here, I'm going to pass through these two. Okay, pull it tight, and this is what I have. I'm going to pick up a seed bead, two Superduos, and a seed bead. Exiting out of here, I'm going to pass through these two. Okay, and this is what I have so far. I'm going to pick up a seed bead, two Superduos, and a seed bead. Just like that. And then go through these two. So basically, I'm going to be picking up the beads like that every time and passing through the two seed beads and then repeating the same step over. Now, it's pretty simple to do. It's not hard. But I do want to show you guys what it looks like to do the other side. So I am going to switch needles so you could see what this side looks like. Okay, so again, we're exiting out of that bead. I'm going to pick up a seed bead, two Superduos, and a seed bead, and I'm going to pass through these two. Okay, so that's what it looks like now with this side filled in. I'll do it one more time. A seed bead, two Superduos, and a seed bead, and pass through these two. Careful you don't skip one. Okay, and pull it through, and there we go. That's what we have. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Just keep going, filling in the sides, and like I said, if you want, you can do one whole side all the way to the end and then go to the other side and do the whole side all the way to the end. I did that in the other ones and it was fine. I didn't have tension problems. Sometimes you can't do that on a bracelet. You'll have to do half of it, stop, go to the other side, do half of it, and then you can continue on because of the tension in the bracelet. So this is pretty simple. Just keep going, filling in the sides. If you have any problems, just rewind the video. And once you get to the button over here or the other end of your clasp, I'll show you what to do next. I kept on going and I filled in both sides, and I'm over here. But before you go any further, go back and check and make sure that your work is right, because I accidentally lost a bead or something and it was like back here, and I had to take this whole side apart to fix that. So go ahead and check your work and make sure it looks like mine, and once it's all good, then you can continue on. Okay, so this is where I'm at. I added my last, row of Superduos on each side. And now my thread is Xing here and here. Now what I have to do is reinforce this button, because I've only gone through the button one time, so I need to reinforce that. So I'm going to take this needle and I'm going to pass through these two seed beads. Okay. Ouch. So pull that through like that. Then I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go through these 5 seed beads, go straight through all 5 of them. I'm going to come out the top of the button, and you want to go through that bead there in the side. If you don't go through that bead now, you can't go back and go through it. Okay, so I'm going through the 5 seed beads, the button, and through that seed bead there at the top, and I'm pulling this through. Pull it snug. Now I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to go through the seed bead here in the center, the turquoise one. You can only go through this one this way. Okay, so just passing through that one. Now I'm going to sew down through the seed bead, through the cut button, and through all 5 of these seed beads. Okay, just checking. Okay, I got them all. I'm going to pull this through. Okay, and now I'm going to pass through these 2 seed beads here. Okay, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to go to my other needle. So I'm going to flip my work over to do that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so the one I just did is Xing out these 2, and the one I have to do now, which you can pull it to see, it's this one right here, okay? So I'm going to take this needle, pass through these 2 seed beads, pull it through all the way. Okay, then I'm going to pass through these 5 here, through the button, and also through that 1 seed bead on the top. So all 5, the button, the seed bead on top, pull this through. I'm going to pass through that 1 seed bead again, pull that through. I'm going to go down this seed bead through the button and through these 5 seed beads. Okay, just like that. Pull this through. I'm going to go through these 2 here. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull these 2 threads tight. Now I have to reposition myself so I can pick up seed beads for the sides. So what I'm going to do is take this thread here, and I'm going to go through this 1 seed bead, pull that through. I'm going to take my other needle, and I'm going to go through this seed bead on this side, so I'm doing the same thing on each side. Pull that through. I'm going to lay this down. Okay. Now I have to pick up my seed beads, and you can do this any way you want. The color layout is totally up to you. This one here actually did 3 colors of seed beads. I have a silver one in between. I have the black diamond, then I have the pearly white seed bead. There's my points, and I like that because it really pops when you see it from the distance. So with this one, what I'm going to do is a bronze, bronze, a turquoise, and then a bronze, okay? So exiting out there, I'm going to pass through this Superduo. Okay, I'm going to pick up the same beads again. Okay, then I'm going to go through this Superduo. Now, laying this flat, there's smaller gaps here in between, and there's larger gaps here. So here I'm going to pick up one seed bead, and I'm just going to do a turquoise bead there. Okay, so this is going to be my pattern. Now again, I have to do the bronze, turquoise, bronze, and then I'm going to go through here. Pull that tight. Turquoise again in the smaller gap, just one seed bead there. Picking up a bronze, turquoise, bronze through here. Okay, pull that tight. And you can hold this any way you want. As you can see, I'm holding it this way. Kind of wasn't paying attention. You can hold it this way if you want. It's up to you, however you want to do it. Okay, so exiting out here, I'm going to fill in this hole. One seed bead. And then I'm at my 3 seed bead spot again. So I'm picking these up, and I'm going through here. Okay, so just like that, it's very simple. I'll swap this over so you could see what the other side looks like. Again, I'm exiting right here. So I'm going to pick up bronze, turquoise, and a bronze, and I'm going to go through this Superduo. Pull it tight. Now I'm going to pick up bronze, turquoise, bronze, and I'm going to go through this one. Now I have to add one here. Then I have to add 3 through here. Now I have to add 1, and then 3, one, and then 3. Okay, so it's very simple. You're just filling in the sides, and you can also do one whole side, come all the way down here, and then go to the other side and do the other side. You don't have to split it in half because the tension is pretty good on this bracelet. Okay, so just keep going, filling in the sides, repeating these steps, and if you have any problems, just rewind the video. I filled in both sides all the way down to my 2 last Superduos. So I have a thread coming out of this hole, and I have one coming out of that hole. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up, I'll do this thread first, 3 seed beads, the bronze, the turquoise, and the bronze. Exiting out of here, I have to make this side match my other side. So in order to do that, I'm going to pass through this seed bead right here. So you see that there's these 2 here that we crisscrossed through earlier. I'm going to go up 1. This one right here, and I'm going to pass through it, and I'm also going to pass through these 2 here. Okay, so just like this, pull the thread through, just like that. I'm going to flip this over and do the other side. Pick up my last 3 beads. I'm exiting out here. I'm going to pass through this one up here, so here's the 2, so I'm just going to go up 1 bead, okay, and then I'm going to go through these 2, and if I could, I would also go through that one right there, but it won't let me because it's too tight, so I'm just going to go through these 3, pull it through, And then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go up through this one here, and actually I'm going to go through as many as I can. So let's see. So I could do these 3. Okay, so I'll pass through these 3 here, pull that through, and then I'm going to turn this. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass through this one here, and I'm just going to get right in front of that Superduo. I'm going to turn this around, I'm going to pull this thread tight, pull this thread tight, and taking the other needle, and right now I'm exiting here out of these 2 seed beads, so I need to go through this one and through these 3, just like that, so I can match what I did on the other side. Pull that through. Okay, now I'm going to pull both of these threads tight. Okay, and we are now ready to tie our 1/2 inch knots. Now I'm going to tie 1/2 inch knots, and I always like to tie the knot before the bead with a larger hole. So the seed beads have small holes, so since I have Superduos on the side, I'm going to tie the knot before my Superduos, and then I'll pull the knot into the Superduo. Okay, so I need to keep this thread tight, so I'm going to wrap this one here around my finger, keep it tight, and then I'm going to take and go to this thread here and tie a knot. Okay, so my thread's exiting out the same spot on both sides. I'm going to take this needle, I'm going to put it through this little hole right here, pull it through, I'm going to make a loop, then I'm going to pass through this loop 2 times. Slowly bring it down and pull it tight. Now I'm going to take this needle and pass through the Superduo and through the seed beads, just like that, and I'll tie another knot right here before the Superduo. Bring it down, pull it tight, pass through these 2 here, pull the knot into the Superduo, and then I'll tie another knot here. Slowly bring it down and pull tight, and then sew through these beads. Okay, and tie another knot here. So just keep going, tying 1/2 inch knots in front of the Superduo and pull the knot into the Superduo hole, and then your knots will not be seen. Okay, so I have a nice amount of thread here, so what I do is I just keep going, tying knots. Sometimes I'll skip a few beads and I'll just pass through a few, then I'll start tying knots again, and I just like to reinforce the sides of the bracelet and make it stronger. And then when I get to the end of my thread, as far as I can go, I'll trim the thread off. Now make sure you do the same thing on this side, tying your knots. Okay, so after you get done tying knots on that side, trim your thread, go to this side and do the same thing, tying your knots. And then trim your thread when you get close to the end of it, and you'll be done. This is it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the jewelry we've made from my videos on my Facebook page. And follow me on Pinterest. Thanks for watching!